Title Update 12 has brought us so many good things, especially for skill builds. We have got the capacitor, which gives us huge amounts of weapon damage and skill damage. Very nice brand sets, Empress International, good gear sets, the rigger gear set. We have the new waveform exotic holster. So many things we could, put together and create amazing builds. This build is going to be the infinite skill build. Basically, you'll never have cooldowns. Your skills will always be up and ready to go. And the reason is because we are going to be utilizing two perfect talents in our build. We have got perfectly skilled and perfectly calculated. Now, I will go full in depth with this build when we get to the explaining part of it. Enjoy the gameplay and pay attention to what's happening right here. You're probably wondering why I'm using refreshing our skill haste and refreshing our skills rather than trying to focus on skill damage. That's because we have the waveform exotic holster and the capacitor weapon, which gives us 90% skill damage. So then, because we have all of that damage coming in, we can focus on getting our skills back as fast as possible. For the first time ever, consumable skills are able to instantly refresh, or the cooldown is to come right down so that we can focus on other things. We have skill haste on this build, but if you get a bunch of NPCs, for example, in the firing range, if I shoot my oxidizer and my seeker mine, if I throw my seeker mine down, I can do it for hours. It never goes away. And this is a new thing, because normally you would need to use the hardwired gear set or the rigger gear set. As you know, the backpack, when you destroy your skill, it refreshes cooldowns. That's how you would do it. Or the hardwired, you would cancel or change or destroy your skill. Basically, that refreshes the cooldowns, and you would need to use something like a turret or a drone, which you would use and then dismantle to refresh your cooldowns. Now, for the first time ever, you don't have to do that at all. So perfectly skilled is going to refresh our seeker mine. We have a 30% chance every single time we get a kill. But here's where it gets interesting. Perfectly calculated, while we are in cover, reduces our cooldowns by 15% every single kill. So our timer on our seeker mine goes from like 20 seconds down to 5, down to 0 very quickly. It's absolutely amazing. But the best thing about this is each skill, perfectly calculated, works perfectly for any kind of skill that uses ammo, like the oxidizer chem launcher. Why? Because when you get the proc from perfectly skilled, that regenerates our seeker mine instantly, and an ammo piece from our chem launcher. I will go in more detail with this shortly so I can explain it to you guys, but basically they work so well together, and it's important to use one skill that goes out, destroys itself, and then it's on cooldown. So then skilled can refresh that as quick as possible, get it back instantly, whilst perfectly calculated is mitigating the chances. So if you're not getting it refreshed, the timer is just going down, the cooldown's going down and down and down because of it, and it is just boosting our ammo on our chem launcher, which means we have unlimited shots. I really do believe this build is one of the most efficient skill builds in the game. So enjoy the gameplay, and we'll get into the explanation very soon.
Easy down.
All clear. I repeat.
Finish this. It's tracking me. Stay right there. Come on then, fucker! Gonna kill you! Fuck, no! Deploying fool! Ah!
Hopefully you guys did enjoy the gameplay. I will explain a bit further shortly in the firing range. Let's go through this build right now. Do you guys want to get your skills back instantly and still dish out lots of damage? This is going to be a very efficient build for you. So we are going to be utilizing 2 perfect talents. Now these go towards getting our skills back as fast as possible. The damage from this build is going to come from waveform and the capacitor assault rifle, which is going to work very well. Let me explain the 2 sides of the talents. So what I like to say is the rule of the left and the right. So the left side is going to be perfectly skilled. You should put your skills, you don't have to do this, but this just helps me understand it a bit better. So perfectly skilled is going to work perfectly with skills like the Seeker Mine. When you throw it, or if you shoot a sticky bomb, for example, it blows up, that's it, your skill's gone. Seeker Mine, you throw it, it spreads out, it blows up, that's it, your skill's gone. Perfectly skilled is going to be perfect for skills like that, because every time you get a skill kill, have a 30% chance to completely reset it. So when we throw our Seeker Mines and shoot our Oxidizer Chem Launcher, every single kill we get with both of these skills, there's a 30% chance that it completely refreshes our Seeker Mines. And trust me, it happens very, very often. Also, perfectly calculated is going to be decreasing our cooldown from our Seeker Mines anyway to mitigate the 30%. So at all times it is still going to be bringing it down, and this works from also shooting with your weapon. So every time you shoot an NPC, kill an NPC with your weapon or your skills, 15% of your cooldowns are completely removed. So this is going to be perfect for our consumable skill, the Chem Launcher. So every time you shoot your Chem, you lose an ammo, right? So this will, perfectly skilled, will bring back 1 piece of ammo. But with this, it's constantly increasing your ammo bar, like ticking up every time you get a kill, both skills. So it maintains them and brings the skill haste down, the skill cooldown down so much, and your skill haste just skyrockets. It works so incredibly well when you combine the 2. Obviously, you can decide to yourself, well, I want to use consumable skills like the Chem Launcher, the Oxidizer Chem Launcher, and the Hive, for example. Then you're going to go better with perfectly calculated. If you want to use a Seeker Mine and a turret, you're better off going with perfectly skilled, because it'll be easier to get your skills up. But you could also use calculated, because that 15% just charges all the time. This is one of the best talents for skills right now. It's incredibly strong, and I recommend you guys give it a try and see exactly how this works. So what I'm going to do is we're going to go straight to the firing range so I can explain myself to you guys and showcase what I mean. So Waveform, the exotic holster, and the capacitor assault rifle are going to give us 90% skill damage. And we also get extra weapon damage as well. So make sure when you guys do come to the firing range, you come over here and disable skill haste and just double check it. So we have got 110%, which is just ridiculous, and we'll still be able to hit very hard. So this is how this is going to work. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into cover and I'm going to shoot my chems just randomly so it doesn't do any damage. We're just going to get rid of some of them so I can showcase this a bit better. So now we have got 4 bullets. So if we throw our Seeker Mine down, you'll see a perfectly skill proc. You can see a little scorpion that's calculated. So skill did not proc, okay? Let's try and get skill to proc now. So as you guys can see, when we get a kill, our cooldown of the Seeker Mines will either go down from calculated. There we go. Our Seeker Mines are completely back. So let's have a look and see how fast we can get our ammo back from our chem launcher. Have a look. It's at 3 charges. Did you see how it just boosted itself there? We had 2, 3 again. Every time we tick a kill, it just brings it down. Brings the cooldown down and increases our charges. So when we throw a Seeker Mine, once again, watch our chem. It's just there, 4 again, instantly, and it keeps going. It ticks away. Skilled has just brought back our Seeker Mines instantly. So both of these talents are working well for each skill. They're working together, but, you know, perfectly calculated is better for consumable skills and which require ammo, but perfectly skilled is perfect for skills like the Seeker Mines, which, you know, are expendable. They destroy and you get it back instantly, not just lower the cooldown. It brings it back so you can instantly throw them out again. So hopefully you do understand what I mean. And like I said before, this is like all the time. This happens absolutely all the time. Obviously you have to get kills, you know, skill kills, or with your weapon with perfectly calculated. You have to work a bit to get the kills, but once you do, it's just endless. So let's go through the specialization that I have chosen. Technician specialization, you can use whatever, well, make sure everything is activated, and amped should be up, +1 skill tier. That's why we have got a red. If you want to use demolitionist to get more explosive damage for your Seeker Mine, you can do that as well. Just make sure you have 6 skill tiers. Then also make sure overclock CPU is up, 10% skill damage +10, which is very, very good. Also, this is an assault rifle, the capacitor, so make sure this is activated. So let's go through the build itself and I can give you guys some more detail. So we have got 5 yellows and 1 red. We can get a decent amount of weapon damage from this capacitor weapon, which we're going to go through right now. So on the right hand side of the gun while you're firing away, it build stacks up to a cap of 40. Each stack grants 1.5% skill damage, which is about 60%. After 5 seconds it decays, but it doesn't decay very quickly. For each electronic skill, gain plus 7.5% weapon damage. So we have got quite a decent amount of weapon damage, which is, I think it is actually signaled here, which is good. 103k, 700 RPM is going to be really nice, and you will be trying to use this as often as you can. Now, there are obviously better ways to get skill damage, and you know, you guys can combine the two. I just really wanted to showcase these 2 perfect talents and how quick you can get your skills back if you use them together. But you can obviously decide to use one or the other, put whatever other skill you want, whatever talent you want on your chest, and use calculator or vice versa. It's completely up to you. Like I said, my builds are always templates for you guys to just go crazy, work on them, and adapt them to suit your own playstyles. The secondary, mechanical animal, of course, because we get overcharge. It's up to you. You can put on whatever you want. And the pistol, if you guys don't have the card custom, go get it. This allows you to have another red if you want to, but then you would have to pull this out to get a 6 tier. If you're using technician or demolitionist, you would only have a 5. So just make sure you gauge this. It's up to you and what build you want to be using. So 3-piece Empress International, which is going to give us the beautiful skill health, which is nice, skill damage, and skill efficiency. Now keep in mind, skill efficiency is skill damage, skill duration, skill haste, all of it. It's everything. So it's very, very strong. That's 20% skill damage. I'm not entirely sure if it is 20%, but it should be. But you never know. This game is never really correct. The damage numbers are always buggy sometimes. So just have a look and test it for yourself. So we have a lot of utility from this 3-piece, and I really do recommend it. It's one of the best brand sets right now for skill builds. Then we have got the Wyvern 1-piece, which gives us extra skill damage. And then we have the China Light Industries, which gives us that 15% explosive damage for the Seeker Mines, which is very important because we can hit very high numbers with this as well. You'll be surprised. And that's because the capacitor skill increased, the extra explosives, and this beautiful waveform. Now remember, it swaps over from left to right, but to be honest, you're using both your skills so many times, you always going to get that extra damage, which is very, very nice. I'm hitting 5 million damage per seeker mine, which is just silly considering that we have so much skill haste available for us. So generating a stack of 3% skill damage on one of your skills every second, capping at 10 stacks. After 10 seconds of the cap, the stacks transfer to other skills. The process adds repeats ad infinitum. That is 30% skill damage. It's a must-have. I think in all skill builds that you need to have this, and this is where it gets interesting. Normally, I would say only use this when you're using like a drone in a turret, because it's going to swap around and you don't want it to be swapped away from your seeker mine, throw it down and you lost your damage. But because this is probably the best skill cooldown build I've ever used. You are always firing your skills, so you will always be able to utilize each side for the damage. So just give it a try and see what I mean. So when I modded everything, it's important to note, I think builds are going to start changing very soon, especially in PvP. I'm going to do a bit more testing. But I think running skill haste is not going to be necessary for this. But obviously I don't have every piece that I would need. But it's up to you, because you could just go overboard and just get the skill haste like I have on this build currently, which is sitting at an unnecessary amount, 110% skill haste. But trust me, it makes a big difference, because these seeker mines still have a 24-second cooldown with all that skill haste. So you can see where the utility comes in. I played a mission and the people thought I was cheating. They said to me, you just keep spamming skills, what's happening? I was like, yeah. And the amount of damage you can do because of that. Now, this is where this game becomes a bit more complicated. Okay, for example, if I have 4,000 damage more than you per bullet with my turret, per bullet with my turret, imagine all the RPM of my turret over 20 minutes. That's going to be millions of damage. So it's important to take note that over a mission, for example, you're going to be constantly spamming skills. Yeah, the guy with more damage is going to throw them way less than you and hit harder at the time, but over the period of the mission, you will do more damage than him. So that's where it gets interesting. I think it's important to remember that the more time and the more spammable they are, the more damage you're just going to be outputting. So it's important to take note and just keep that in mind when you are trying this build up, because you might be thinking to yourself, oh, I want more damage, but trust me, just give this a go. And then maybe if you say to yourself, okay, I like this, but let me just, for example, use a hive and take away skilled and use a glass cannon or kinetic momentum, or the one where you sit in cover and give your teammates damage as well. That would be a good talent. Things like that. It's completely up to you. There's a lot of ways you can take this, and yes, I will be making builds delving into different combinations. I just want to get the baseline builds out first so you guys have good ideas. So whenever I roll these, I try to get skill damage and skill haste. Make sure you have a red on one of these pieces at least, because we're just going to be wasting a skill tier. So skill damage and skill haste. Critical hit chance and critical hit damage would be good to roll with skill damage with this build. You could have a lot of damage from your weapon. This could potentially be a good hybrid, but like I said, I've just gone for all out skill haste and skill damage. So I pretty much rolled that on everything. Skill haste we have rolled on every mod except the chest piece. Now skill duration is very important for the oxidizing chem launcher, which does armor damage, and it absolutely wrecks bosses, by the way, guys. It does a lot of damage to bosses. We have got 10% skill duration that increases the cloud duration, which is very, very potent. So skill efficiency will also increase that by a further 10%. So this is going to be really good for like healer builds as well. So a healing hybrid with Empress International is a very, very good thing, and I'm actually working on that currently. So stay tuned for that and make sure you guys click that notification bell. So every single piece is going to be similar: skill haste, skill damage, and all that good stuff. So that's what the waveform exotic holster rolls with as well. Backpack, skill damage, skill haste. Gloves, skill damage, skill haste. Very nice pair of knee pads, skill damage, and status effects, which I just left. I could change it if I want. It depends what kind of skill you want. It's a shame that this oxidizer is not an actual status effect, but it doesn't really matter. You can also utilize this build with the Eclipse protocol, and every time you shoot your chem with fire, it burns the NPCs, and it counts every time it spreads. That'll even further increase it. So what I did was I used an Eclipse protocol build, and I put the Eclipse 4-piece on, the Vile mask, and the perfectly calculated backpack. It was a blast. Yes, I was doing less damage, but my word, like my chem launcher just never ran out. So just give that a try as well. That is quite fun, I'm not going to lie. So the statistics, you guys can pause the video and have a look. There's a lot going on here, and I don't want to get too much into it. These statistics don't really showcase too much. It's always deceiving. But let's go into the skills. Now, you can use whatever skills you want. I just like the combination that I utilize. When you're modding them, make sure you put the correct mods. Cluster mines, damage, and extra damage. Also, with this damage and then +1 ammo, very important. We've got cloud duration, which is 15 seconds, which is really good. This also destroys in PvP, but obviously agents can disappear very quickly, and the damage does stack. So shooting more than one cloud on an NPC will kill them faster. So just try that out. It's a lot more efficient. That's why people say you shoot it, they run away. The NPCs will not run away from you now, especially because you're getting your skills back so quick. With the combination with the Seeker Mines, they cannot run away from the Seeker Mines, so you'll be getting this back even faster. I think you guys can understand where I'm coming from. So once you've modded all of that, just go give this build a try. Like I said, this could be used as a template. There's so many ways you can take this, and I will be bringing out those builds. So let me know what you guys think about this infinite skill build. And yeah, leave a like, subscribe, and I'll be seeing everyone in the next video. Peace out, guys.